there was this guy called Ben Shapiro that went viral on Twitter because of his reaction to WAP. And I just thought it was so hilarious what he said. So I'm going to be reacting to it too. Let's go and see what he's saying.
This P-word is wet. Come take a dive. And continue along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like,
Great. We love vulgar. The more vulgar, the better.
Talk your S-word, bite your lip, ask for a call while you ride that P-word. You really ain't never gonna F him for a thing. He already made his mind up.
Why is he reciting it like that?
Now get your boots in your coat for this wet-ass P-word. Pay my tuition just to kiss me on this wet-ass P-word. So, this is deep, guys. This is what feminists fought for. This is what the feminist movement was all about. It's not it's not really about, you know, women being treated as independent, full, rounded human beings. It's about wet ass P-word. And if you say anything differently, it's because you're a misogynist, you see.
Okay. Let's make one thing clear. That's exactly what feminism is about. That's exactly what feminists fought for. Okay, because when you look at previous waves of feminism, because let me just say something. When people say this, I really hate it when people say this, because what they're trying to imply is that feminism of today is useless, and that what feminists are fighting for today is it's nonsense, you know, compared to, for example, the suffragettes who were fighting for like votes and stuff like that. Like now it's just, oh, feminists are fighting to, you know, talk about their pussy and not be judged for it, or fighting to, like, you know, fuck 20 guys and not be judged for it. Forgetting the fact that actually a lot of this current wave of feminism is fighting against things like sexual assault and rape, and also raising a lot of awareness on consent and opening conversations about consent. And there are a lot of people who were abusers, who were rapists, that are being outed right now. This wave of feminism is very, very important. The fact that this current wave of feminism is very sex positive is crucial. I'm not going to get into that. But that's what when people say things like that, that's what they're trying to imply, that it's unnecessary. And the thing is, like, what the feminists of back in the day were fighting for was, you know, obviously they were fighting for women to be seen as, you know, individuals, to be respected, to be seen as more than their bodies, to be seen as more than housewife, all these, you know, the normal stuff. But the fact that they have fought for those things means that women now are multifaceted. We can be whatever we want to be. Like, if I want to be a housewife, if I want to be a kept woman, if I want a man to provide for me, I can absolutely be that. If I want to be a boss bitch, an independent woman, I can also be that. If I want to keep, you know, my sexual debut, because virginity is a social construct, if I want to, you know, keep my sexual debut until I get married, I absolutely can do that. If I want to be out here fucking 20 guys, 30 guys, I absolutely can do that. That is the current state of women today. We are free to be whatever kind of individual we want to be. If we want to be hyper feminine and soft and dainty, we can be that. And if we want to be hard and masculine, and I know what people are going to say, like, oh, you're associating, these are typical things that are associated with masculinity and femininity, but you know what I mean. We can be so many different things. So yes, this is what feminism was fighting for. This is exactly what feminism is about, in my own opinion. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. And the thing is, he also said, oh, you know, if you say anything against this, then it means that you're a misogynist. Not necessarily. No one's really gonna have a problem with what you're saying as long as you're being respectful. There's a difference between saying this is not for me, but go ahead and do you, and just outright disrespecting the person. There are lots of women who won't agree with what I say. There are lots of women who won't agree with what I preach. I'm a sex educator. I talk about sex openly. I talk about my own experiences. I'm all about women, you know, expressing their sexuality however they choose to. Do whatever you want. If you want to have casual sex, have casual sex. If you want to take nudes, you shouldn't be judged for it. If you want, do you know what I mean? I'm that kind of a person, and there are a lot of women who are going to disagree with that. that's fine. They're free to disagree with it. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone has the same moral compass. Not everyone views life as the same. There are some people who think that, you know, if you have sex with somebody, you're exchanging energy and, oh, it's going to have an effect on your life and all these kind of stuff. You know, there are people who believe in soul ties, and there's other people who just think that sex is just sex. Like, there's nothing deep about it. Okay, we all have different moral compasses. We all have different values. And there's nothing wrong in somebody disagreeing with my lifestyle or the choices that I make or the things that I believe in, but just don't be disrespectful. Yeah, so that's about it. But there was also some tweets that he made afterwards that I thought was absolutely hilarious. And I let me just read it out to you guys. Like, let me just actually read it out to you guys so you guys know what I'm talking about. And I'll talk about these tweets in a sec. So what his tweet said is, as I also discussed on the show, my only real concern is that the women involved, who apparently require a bucket and a mop, get the medical care they require. My doctor wife's differential diagnosis, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infection, or trichomoniasis. I find it hilarious because I feel like sometimes like straight guys really tell on themselves, because what that lets me know, just by reading that tweet, what that lets me know is that his sex is shit. It's dead. Graveyard. That's what his sex is. And it's also like it's quite weird to hear a man speak about wet pussy in kind of like a negative way, like having wet pussy is a bad thing, because this is the first time I've ever heard a cishet man speak negatively about wet pussy. That's why do you think the women in that song were bragging about having wet pussy? Because wet pussy is seen as is a pretty much quite a big deal. Like, for example, and because what I've heard from other guys anyways, and what I think is okay for me to assume, because I haven't met every guy, but what I've assumed anyways, is that when a guy says that a woman has, you know, when a straight guy says a woman has good pussy, I feel like good pussy consists of two things: tightness and wetness. So when you're talking about wet pussy like it's a bad thing, I'm just like, wow, dryness must be a common thing in your sex life, because I don't understand how you can talk negatively about wet pussy. It's unheard of. Like, because we all know that the wetter the vagina, the more aroused she is. If she's aroused and she's turned on, it means that you're doing a good job. If she's dry, then it means that you're not turning her on well enough. And also, there are women who experience vaginal dryness regardless of whether they're turned on or not, especially as women get older. It's something that comes with being older. Like when we hit menopause and menopausal ages, we do experience vaginal dryness. Absolutely nothing wrong in that, but that's why lube exists. So what that also tells me is that lube does not exist in your bedroom. Like, if we were to go into your room now and open up the bedside drawer, no lube would be present. That is, I don't know what to say, guys, because even if you don't use lube, like, I just don't understand why you wouldn't own lube. Like, really telling on yourself, really telling on yourself. And you see, this is why, I don't know if any other like straight woman has experienced it, but there has been times when I've told people I'm straight and they've been like, oh, you're being serious. Oh, bless you. Like I've had somebody, like, after I've told them that I'm straight, they've actually like touched my head and they've been like, oh it's okay. And I'm just like, and you know what, I can't even in that moment I can't even say anything. It's actually funny because like straight women, like, I can't explain it, like the bare minimum is celebrated by straight women because we have to deal with men, usually cishet men, and the fact that our love lives, our sex lives mostly involve men, it just, I can see why people would feel sorry for us. I can absolutely see why people would be like, oh babe, oh you poor thing. I can see why, because I've seen jokes about it, like, you know, the fact that cishet women, well, just straight women, have to deal with this nonsense. Like, and this is why I always say, like, just even by reading that tweet alone, like, there are signs, ladies, there are signs when you know that a guy will be just not worth your time, you know? Like, there are signs, and this is a big sign. This lets me know that this is the kind of guy that if you get married to him, you have a very boring sex life. In fact, as the years go by, it may even be sexless because of how just how they are, just their mentality, just how they view, you know, sex and pleasure and shit like that. Like, this is why I'm so, like, people think, like, some people might think I'm crazy, like, the way that I bang on about pleasure, but there's a reason why I bang on about it. Why I always bang on that women have to put their pleasure first, specifically straight women. You have to put your pleasure first, because otherwise you end up dealing with guys who just truly are just a waste of your time. A waste of your time. And then, like, and it's so, and when I talk about, like, straight women, like, praising the bare minimum, for example, like, if a straight woman finds out that a guy gives, you know, eats pussy, like, oh my god, like, he eats pussy as well. Sis, that's normal. That's nothing to praise him about. That's what he should be doing, unless obviously it's not what you like. Like, unless there's like an agreement that oral sex is just a no-go. That should be the norm. That is what he should be doing. I can understand if it was more of, oh my god, I've never had anyone eat my pussy the way he eats my pussy. Then I'd be like, sis, tell me more. Tell me more. I want to know more. What else? What else does he do? That's when you can be like, do you know what I mean? That's something to brag about. Not he eats pussy. That's normal. Or, like, for example, if he eats us, then it's like, oh, he eats us. Okay, how was it? Do you know what I mean? Because regardless of your sexuality, eating ass is not everyone's cup of tea. That's a delicacy. That's a specific delicacy that not everyone enjoys, regardless of your gender, regardless of your sexuality. Not everyone's into it. So if you meet a guy that's into it, and he eats your you know, he eats your ass like a fucking meal, then I think that's something to write home about. But eating pussy, like, that's normal shit. But that's the thing, that's straight women's experiences. It's so that's what straight women have to deal with. They have to deal with the fact that a guy could tell them, I don't eat pussy, and then when you ask him why, it's just, oh, it's just not my, it's just, you know, I've heard so many different things anyways. I've heard, you know, oh, it just, I'm just worried about the smell, or, like, you know, there's a lot of bacteria there. Yeah, guys, I don't even want to get into it. This wasn't even supposed to go into that. I'm kind of going off on a tangent. But my point is that, yeah, that reaction was just so funny to me, because I've never heard a straight guy like react like that to hearing wet ass pussy. Clearly them saying that they need a mop and a bucket is, you know, it's figurative language. It's basically implying that, you know, I'm so turned on right now, you know, what you're doing to me right now is turning me on so much. We're gonna need a mop to clear up the mess here. If you ain't doing that to your girl, then I feel sorry for her. If you ain't getting her wet like that, then I absolutely feel sorry for her. And it, like I said, vaginal dryness, like, that's something that women do experience. If you ain't using up, if that's the case, if your case is that, you know, you experience vaginal dryness, or let's say if the case is that your woman experiences vaginal dryness, then you should be having bottles of lube up in that place. Like, you should be rinsing that bottle out. All of that, there should just be lube everywhere. If it isn't, that's what I'm gonna say. That is all I'm going to say. But anyways, guys, this is like the first kind of like reaction video that I did, so sorry if this has gone off on a tangent, but I just thought that was so funny and I just had to do a little kind of response video. But I think this video was too long. But just, you know, if you enjoyed it, if you want me to do more kind of like reaction videos, then definitely let me know and I will do more. But yeah, that's all.